Fallout New Vegas is a game that gives the player a lot of choices, whether it's build variety, faction struggles, or even just where to go in the world. And it can take a hot minute to get your bearing in the Mojave Wasteland. So whether you're a returning player looking for a refresh, or a brand new player coming from the Fallout TV show, here are my 15 top tips and things I wish I knew earlier in Fallout New Vegas. So without further ado, let's buckle up, grab some iced coffee, and dive into the video. Number 1. Skill books and magazines. Skill checks play a big part in Fallout New Vegas' gameplay loop, coming up in both conversations and interactions in the world. There are 13 different skills your character can master, but chances are you won't be good at everything. However, aside from leveling, there are ways to boost your skills by reading books and magazines. Skill books are rarer and provide a permanent boost to the corresponding skill. The base increase is a permanent +3, but you can bump that up to +4 with the Comprehension perk. If you do plan on taking the Comprehension perk, I recommend waiting to use your skill books until you have the perk to maximize your point increase. But New Vegas also has skill magazines, which provide a temporary +10 to the relevant stat. This bonus is doubled to a 20-point boost with the Comprehension perk. For these ones, you'll want to save them for scenarios where you were just short of reaching a stat requirement. For instance, I was not able to pass this lockpicking check to dump a truck full of radioactive barrels into a Legion camp, but by using a skill magazine, I was able to clear this quest objective without wasting my skill points from leveling. Number 2. Snowglobes. If you're looking for a fast way to make a lot of caps in the Mojave, one of the best ways is to find these snow globe collectibles out in the open world. The first one you'll likely run across is in the Good Spring Cemetery, and there are 6 more scattered throughout the rest of the world, plus 4 more in the DLC. Once you make it to the New Vegas Strip, Mr. House's Securitron assistant Jane will purchase these off you for 2,000 caps apiece. An insane return on your time investment. Number 3. Jury rigging is an essential perk. As you do your thing out in the Mojave Wasteland, your weapons and armor will undergo wear and tear. And if you don't fix them up for too long, they will eventually break and become unusable. You can repair items by consuming an identical version of them, but for rare or unique items, this isn't always possible. And considering how paying vendors to repair your gear costs like all the caps you've ever made in this game, you'll definitely want to find another solution. Enter the Jury Rigging perk, which allows you to use any similar item in a category to repair your gear. This way you can repair unique and rare items without needing to find an identical one. It does require 90 points in repair to unlock this perk, but the payoff is totally worth it, and I take it in every playthrough of this game. Number 4. Stash your gear in the trash in Good Springs. Loot and gear is plentiful in New Vegas, so it won't be long before you and your companion are over-encumbered. But where's a good place to stash your loot for items you don't want to sell, but can't afford to carry? Some of the chests in this game will reset, so you want to be careful where you put your loot. I personally recommend dropping items in the dumpster next to this building in Good Springs. For starters, it never resets, so you won't have to worry about your gear getting wiped. And even after gaining access to the presidential suite in the Lucky 38, or other residences in the Wasteland, the advantage of keeping your gear here is that you only need to fast travel once and do one loading screen. Number 5. Save often. New Vegas is a notoriously buggy game that is prone to crashing randomly. So I recommend quick saving the game often and making separate manual save slots from time to time. This way you'll minimize lost progress if the game crashes. The game is also pretty stingy with autosaves in the open world, so be particularly mindful when exploring the open areas of the Mojave and save the game often. Also, if the game happens to crash while you're transitioning through a door into a new zone, you might not want to load the most recent autosave, because sometimes the game gets stuck in an infinite loading screen and you have to close the entire game and start over. But there are ways to minimize the tech issues if you're playing on PC, which brings me to number 6, stability mods. I highly recommend installing the New Vegas Anti-Crash mod from Nexus. It improves the stability of the game somewhat, and I personally notice less frequent crashing with the mod installed. Also, if you want to install a bunch of different mods for New Vegas, I recommend getting Mod Organizer 2. This allows you to keep track of all your mods in one place and disable or uninstall them quickly if you want to. New Vegas can definitely be a pain in the ass from a tech standpoint sometimes, but it's a phenomenal game, so it's worth having a bit of patience and perseverance. Number 7, Stealth Boys are an incredible resource. Stealth Boys are an incredible item that you absolutely don't want to sleep on. This consumable item essentially creates an invisibility cloak a la Harry Potter, which makes the courier nearly undetectable by enemies unless you attack or run directly into them. This is extremely useful for sneaking past enemies that you're not ready to fight yet, like a valley full of death claws, or getting the peaceful outcome to some select quests by sneaking past a bunch of hostile NPCs to negotiate with their leader. It's also useful for getting the drop on enemies who might otherwise snipe you with a rocket launcher. So I highly recommend seeking out as many of these as you can find, and keeping at least 2 in your inventory at all times. Number 8, Companion Quest Triggers. Companion quests work a little bit differently in Fallout New Vegas. Rather than working on a reputation system, in order to unlock companion quests, you need to gain trust points by triggering specific conversations as you travel in the wasteland. These triggers will happen automatically at certain locations. For instance, Arcade Gannon will strike up a conversation with you when you visit the crashed Vertibird site on the far southern portion of the map. If you want to do all the companion quests, I recommend looking up the specific trigger sites on the Fallout Wiki. Keep in mind that some of them are buggy. For instance, Veronica is supposed to have a conversation trigger outside Vault 3, but I've had a very hard time getting this one to trigger. Also, keep in mind that locations that have conversation triggers for multiple characters will only work once per playthrough. For instance, multiple companions will have a conversation trigger the first time you enter the Silver Rush weapons store in Freeside. But once one of these characters makes comments on it, you can't bring another character there in the same playthrough. Number 9, the fastest way to get into the Strip. While tracking down Benny, you'll run across a roadblock while trying to make it into the New Vegas Strip. Since this is a proper Fallout game, there are a ton of different ways for you to solve the problem. You can pass a credit check of 2,000 caps, hack the Securitron with a science check, or purchase a fake passport from Mick, among many others. But the fastest way to get into the Strip is to simply take the monorail from Camp McCarran. This train is controlled by the NCR, so it helps to have a positive reputation with the faction. But you can easily sneak or run past the 2 scrubs guarding the train and get into the New Vegas Strip without jumping through a bunch of hoops. Number 10, Outfits and Disguises. The different factions in Fallout New Vegas also have faction-specific armor and outfits. But be careful with these because they're not just fashion, they will actually cause other NPCs to consider you a member of the relevant faction. For instance, wearing a Powder Ganger uniform in Good Springs may cause the residents to become hostile even if you help them out in Good Springs gunfight. One minute you're chillin' and vibing with Trudy at her bar, and the next minute she's trying to blow your head off. But you can also use faction armor to your advantage to infiltrate camps and walk freely amongst groups that might otherwise shoot you on sight. Faction may also tip the balance in how potential companions feel about you. A great example is Arcade Gannon. If you have a positive reputation with Caesar's Legion, then he will refuse to travel with you. However, if you slap on some NCR armor, Arcade will change his tune, even if your reputation with the Legion is the same. So keep this in mind as you play the game. If you're getting stuck on a particular objective, sometimes the solution is switching up your drip. Number 11, Power Armor Training. Unlike Fallout 4, one does not simply put on a suit of power armor. In order to use power armor in New Vegas, you'll first need to receive training from an experienced user. The first route is to do the Brotherhood of Steel questline in the Hidden Valley Bunker. Completing their series of quests will unlock power armor training. Another option is to do Arcade Gannon's companion quest for Auld Lang Syne. This one takes a bit longer because you first have to do the Followers quest for Julie Farkas in Freeside, side, then recruit Arcade Ganon, then gain a few trust points with him by doing the aforementioned companion conversation triggers, but at the end of the quest, you'll receive power armor training from the remnants of the Enclave. So it's totally worth doing either this quest or the Brotherhood quest to get this training, or just do them both. Number 12, how to raise your special stats. Unlike Fallout 4, you cannot increase your special stats through leveling up. These stats are largely fixed when you build your character at the beginning of the game. However, there are a few ways to increase those stats as you progress. The main one is to buy implants from the New Vegas Medical Clinic just outside the Strip. The number of implants you can install is limited by your base endurance stat, so if you started the game with 3 endurance points, you can only install 3 implants. Each implant costs 4,000 caps and grants a +1 to the relevant special stat: strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. The intense training perk, which you can buy upon leveling up, will also allow you to invest 1 more point in a special stat of your choice. Number 13, low intelligence dialogue options. If you build your character with 3 intelligence points or less, then you will unlock special dumb dialogue options that happen in some conversations. Obsidian also did this in the Outer Worlds 1 and 2, and it can be pretty entertaining.
No offense intended, but why should I go anywhere with you? Wow. You sound like you really do need some help. Look, I can help you out, but you can't do anything I mean, you can't help bad people who want to hurt the locals in Freeside. If you do, I'll leave. Does that make sense?
Probably not worth it for a first playthrough, because having low intelligence also nerfs how many skill points you get upon level up, but it's definitely a funny way to play the game for at least one run. Number 14, Cazadors are extremely dangerous. If you see these oversized mutated flies hovering out in the open world, you are in grave danger. These enemies are no joke and can quickly wreck you if you're unprepared. Cazador attacks inflict you with a fast-acting poison which rapidly drains your health, and these things can absolutely gang up on you and gank you in a matter of moments. So when possible, Cazadors are best avoided or attacked from long range if you need to engage them. I also recommend carrying some anti-venom in your inventory so you can negate the DOT damage if you do get clipped by one of these things. If there's one thing BG3 players and Fallout New Vegas players can agree on, it's that all my homies hate Cazador. Number 15, don't betray the Powder Gangers just yet. One of the first side quests you'll receive in New Vegas is the Good Springs gunfight, which pits the townsfolk against the Powder Gangers. If you're new to the game, I recommend waiting to do this quest for a little while. Reason being, completing it and siding with the town will cause all the neighboring Powder Gangers to be hostile. It's just really annoying to have lunatics chucking dynamite at you while you explore the Mojave as a low-level character. Again, if you want to tackle this quest right at the start, more power to you. I'm not saying the Powder Gangers are the hardest enemies in the game, they're definitely not. I just find it annoying to get shot at by everyone on the map right at the beginning of a playthrough. There are plenty of things trying to kill you out in the wasteland, so you don't need to immediately make a bunch of enemies before you get better equipment. This quest doesn't have a time limit, and you can always come back and do it later when you're all geared up. So there you have it. 15 tips and tricks I wish I knew before playing Fallout New Vegas. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more Fallout and RPG videos. Big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.